Hello everyone, Eon here. This is the March 2025 3D Printin' Patreon Tribe previews as of Sunday, February 23rd. So we got about 5 days left in February. A lot will change this week, so if there's something I'm missing, it's probably out after I recorded this. First up, we're going to look at Animal Den Miniatures. Animal Den Miniatures this month is going with the Sumatran orangutan, Punga Miniatures. Arbiter Miniatures for the month of March will be doing the Goblin Warband Part 2. These are still a work in progress. Artisan Guild is not put out a preview just yet, but they have announced the Master Collector tier if you have any interest on this. This will be on both Guildhall, which is their proprietary website, as well as Tribes. Basically, for a little bit more per month, you can get a previous release, and they're going to start by releasing set number 1 alongside the current month's release. So if you're behind, like me, I think I started with them around month 6 or so, then you could jump into this and kind of complete your collection, as it were. Archvillain Games has not put out their preview either, but they have put out that there's Void Sea, and Void Sea is apparently, it says it isn't just any 5e expansion, it's a grim-dark salted, eldritch infested, high seas soaked expansion for 5 and 5.5e. So this is apparently a RPG inspired adventure. Not sure how they're going to fund this just yet, if this is a separate purchase, a Frontier, a Kickstarter, or what, but they have put out a few things about it. So if you have an interest in Pirates of the Caribbean, that sort of thing, this, or even, Cthulhu to a great extent, this may be just the thing to keep an eye on. The Beholder Miniatures has put out a little bit of a preview. We have Asteria, Mistress of the Ascended for the Realms of Mayhem, and we have a throwback army, the Black Horde Goblin Mushroom Eaters. And then we have the Dwarven Kingdom's The Grievance Redeemer, and I just absolutely love that name. In fact, so much that I had, Beholder, you finally have roped me in. So their dwarves are always very nice miniatures. Big Bad Evil Guy is announcing that they will be quitting this campaign, this tribe, this Patreon. So just wanted to officially note it here that they are canceling and will no longer be around. So sorry to break that bad news. Cast and Play has not put out a preview of theirs, but they did mention this Frontier coming up. It says Cornelia's Fantastic Creatures, and I'm assuming Cornelia is one of their sculptors or a friend of the Patreon. So if you have interest in this, go check out that Frontier, and by signing up, you get a couple of free STLs that you can print off even if you don't back the campaign when it launches. Claudio Casini Art has put out these previews of a Frogfolk and a Dragonborn, a Shaman, and a set of Assassins. There are multiple races of the Assassins available too. Clay Beast Creation has done a couple of previews. We have Grove Guardians, and the Grove Lord Hunter, coming in the month of March. Comet Lord Miniatures has put out their previews. We have the Ruined Blade Warlock with one of the most unique swords I think I've ever seen. I really like the effect there. Is it a digital sword? We have the Blade of Set. Looks as though he's on the receiving end of that sword. As well as the Malachi. Dino and Dog has put out a small preview. We are actually getting a chess set with dinosaurs as the theme. There's also a bust of a caveman. Or a Neanderthal. And apparently an orc female warrior as well. Dragon Trappers Lodge does their free mini a week. This week it's Vile Blossom Dragon, available until February 28th. And just to review what we're looking at this month, we have for the month of March, Food World and Heralds of the Apocalypse Part 2. So at the basic level, you get their, what do they call them? It skips my head at the moment. Snorfu or something. That's not right. But they have this guy, obviously covered in ice cream, it looks. And for the Trapper tier, we see, I'm assuming that's like a sushi dragon. Some of the artwork is very lightly drawn in, and I apologize for that. We obviously have some cooks or chefs. And then various monsters that are made up of food. This guy reminds me of Dungeon Crawler Carl. There's a critter called a Bellyacre. Just, I don't think it looks quite like that, but some very interesting models they'll be putting out this month. For the Soldier tier, they're continuing with the Heralds of the Apocalypse. Really like the winged lion. So, be curious to see the renders from Dragon Trappers Lodge. Dragon's Lake Miniatures is doing the Empire of Sonstal still this month. They're continuing that theme. Here we have some light infantry, along with a command group for said infantry. Actually, those weren't infantry, were they? Would you consider infantry with weapons? With crossbows? Sorry, confused. We have some Empire cavalry. They come with swords as well as the spears. They also have a command group for that cavalry. Just to show how they're modular. They have wizards. Reminds me of playing Age of Reckoning. As well as an arcane engine. And this model comes with several different pieces. They've also put out wizards on horses. Really like what Dragon's Lake has done this month and last. Duncan Shadow, and I may be messing up when these are actually being released, but these are gnolls, and they come with several different options, such as bows, not crossbows. They have daggers and axes or halberds, maces, and more. Some are heavily armored, some are not. They also will be coming as a multi-part kit. Here we have a champion and a shaman. Dungeons and Dreadnoughts has put out the Evernewts and some of their evolutions. I've only recently added Dungeons and Dreadnoughts to my channel, but they seem to be doing monsters that are kind of like real-life sort of Pokemon, and I really like what they're doing. This is also a Snowtop Manticore. Dungeons and Maidens has put out the fact that we'll be getting Kitty this month, inspired by Ari from League of Legends and Felicia from Spider-Man. Dungeon Classics, because it is done by Dragon Trappers Lodge, is reminding you of the free miniature, but they have some artwork as well. Manticore, a hunter shark, some dwarven ghouls, a giant crab, and some rock gnome recluses. Dungeon Dog has put out a couple of previews of the Abyssal Chicken and Sculpt Bee. It's a thing of your nightmares, and it works. Epic Miniatures has put out a preview of update number 1, which will be Wild Bandits. This is a blacksmith's hut, which has a playable interior. And there's the owner of said hut, and an insect Hulk. We have a set of bandits. They have multiple sculpts of the bandits. We'll look at those more in the first March video. Chicken Swarm. I was going to say maybe if you hit them with a sword like in Zelda. A Shepherd Dog Centaur, and I do believe Shepherd is misspelled, but that is their spelling, not mine. Bulky Lizard Bandit. A Horse Wagon, and as a Mimic, of course. A Mimic Practice Dummy. That'd be one way to keep your troops on their toes, wouldn't it? A Dwarf Female Paladin, who also comes with a goat mount. And the goat mount can come without the dwarf as well. We have a Goblin Guard. Kind of reminds me of a Labyrinth to a small extent. And then we have a Long Neck Troll. We have a Raider Female and a Masked Headhunter. And a Poison Dragon. Gamescape 3D has put out a few previews as well. Again, as Gamescape continues to add to their collection every month, they are putting together some very nice dioramas. I really enjoy seeing the stuff put together. Goonmaster Games has given us this preview of Shrew. As well as some organic bases. Reminds me of the Creep from the Zerg of StarCraft. Highlands Miniatures is going to the Aegean Elves in March. So we see this rank and file of pikemen, spearmen, polearms. M3 Desion has put out a preview of humans and orcs for the month of March. Can't tell if that guy on the right is an orc or more of a ogre. 14 different models plus 5 heads for the miniatures. JHC has put out some concept art for the month of March, as well as the first render of this horrendously but exceptionally well done model. Labyrinth Models has been previewing for March for a while, kind of continuing the theme of last month. We see the Vampire Corsairs, Skeleton Buccaneers, Abyss Sirens, and Medusa. And to me, this model is just extremely impressive. Last Sword Miniatures has pretty small preview so far. We have some heavy pikemen, and some new crossbowmen, as well as Veilcar the Oathbound. Apparently this is a mercenary dragon. Loot Studios has given us a small preview of what's coming in March. We have All That Glitters. Here's King Gordius, Emerald the Wish Granter, a Treasure Troll, Quisk, a Danger Sensor, a Man-Bat Horror, an Aurumvorax. Is that a Wolverine? Is that a bear? Yes, I think. Roarer Cavalieri. So we have some dwarves. Glitters, Treasure, Thunic Falconcini. Sorry, I haven't tried to pronounce that. Falconcini, I would say. So, dwarves hunting after treasure, perhaps. It's kind of difficult to really put together the theme there, but I'm curious to see what all it looks like. Mammoth Factory has given us some preview art. The Beast of Stragovia. And here we see a girl with an axe and a basket. Is that Little Red Riding Hood? And I did not write the name of this guy down, but this is the Beast. And here's Lady Isabella of Rose Keep. Stragovian Night Wardens. Look at that handsome fella. And we have essentially Robin Hood with the... Wow, okay. Mammoth, you're probably going to retain me this month. You're buying into my childhood. One Page Rules is continuing with Wood Elves this month. These are the Wood Elves Eternals. I don't know much of the lore of these, but are these like fantasy dreadnoughts? Papal 3D has put out Charge of the Horse Lords for the month of March, excuse me. We're in February. And for the Mythic Gift, we have the House of Helm. And we do have this roadmap for anyone interested in further down the line with Papal, and I'm actually looking forward to some of this stuff. The Watcher versus Gondor Army, Rohan Army versus the Witch King, Gondor Siege. So a lot of Lord of the Rings inspired miniatures. Parasite Collectibles is got Stormkeeper Torbjorn. Very sharp renders on this model. Or models, I suppose I should say. They are also announcing a new tribe tier, the Dark Occultist. And the Dark Occultist is designed to let new tribers access the previous releases. So if you subscribe to this tier, then you'll get this month's release and the same one from 2 years ago, which is apparently when they started. So this is marking their 2nd anniversary. Punga Miniatures is doing basically fantasy football. So these are forest elves, I believe. Rescale Miniatures has given us a little bit of a preview of Fate Unbound, including a metallic copper dragon. Can't quite make out the head on that guy. I'm not sure that's him. That's probably Zarkiel the Celestial Scourge. And apparently they have a March My Mini Factory exclusive model, Zalus the Ophidian Queen. Sir Nicholas Miniatures has given us a small preview with some heads that are work in progress. STL Miniatures has given us a brief overlook of what's coming. We have the Jewels Crafters set, as well as the Staff Crafters set. We also have a set of hyenas and a set of vultures. Tiles from the Crypt did these preview images. Really coming together there. Titan Forge Miniatures has just put out their preview for the month of March. You're getting Animal Folk for the, mass Wargame Armies release, and Vampire Pirates as well. So here are some Animal Folk. We'll start with them. So we get a Chariot, as well as, is that a Champion, a Shaman, something to that effect. Just in general, your Chaos Beastmen sorts. Minotaurs, perhaps. Some sort of crazy beast on the right. I'm not sure if they have a specific name for these or not. I'm sure they do. For the Vampire Pirates, which would pair well with Labyrinth Models this month, you see this piece right here. It's a crab, it's a boat. No, it's a vampire pirate. It's like 4 things in one. And of course, there's the crab without the boat and the pirate. Here we see the vampire pirate just himself. And we see some of the rank and file crew, complete with the accordion as the music. I think that is hilarious in a good way, not a mocking way. Here we see a couple of what I would assume is a heavy weapons team. I wonder how many times they can fire that thing. And a set of crabs. I'm surprised they didn't have knives strapped to the claws of the crabs. You get 3 heroes with the Titans of Adventure, and these 3 heroes come with slightly different versions. We'll look at those really quickly. So here we have this halfling or gnome. Notice she comes with a couple of weapon options, a couple of offhand options, as well as these come with some other options as well. And I'm impressed to see the little fox-like creature that comes with the Enchantress, Sorceress, Druid. For some mortal enemies, we have what's essentially an Umber Hulk, but it looks as though it has been infected by spores of some sort. The same thing with these. Are these gnolls, I believe? So it looks like we have some infected critters. And as well, we get some, looks like, kind of swab the deck, piratey sort of bases for this month. Vae Victis is doing Swords for Hire this month. So that was an early work in progress. These will come with multi-parts as well as monopose. Vermillion Miniatures has put out this concept art. Wargames Atlantic has put out some previews. This is the Ming Empire Northern Infantry. Julius II, the Warrior Pope. Now, this is a historical figure. Presided over the church during part of the tumultuous Italian wars. Actually led a campaign in Romagna against local feudal lords, also responsible for the reconstruction and rebuilding of St. Peter's Basilica. An Assyrian battering ram. Looks like it might still be a bit of a work in progress. A female French command, and apparently this is a series of what-ifs, where they take women and put them in the role of what normally men would have done. This is for like Napoleonics. They also have some late Roman legionnaires, or legionaries, if you would, along with the Draco standard. I was halfway expecting this to be like an Asian-based thing, but the Draco standard's pretty cool. But again, these are females, What Ifs, and Blood Oath's female Rust warriors as well. Again, what if? What if? White Werewolf Tavern this month is doing Throne of the Drowned King. So we see King Theoman Valkyrin, Lord of the Sinking Throne, and Morwina, Lost Maiden of the Swamp. I'm not usually a huge underwater or swamp based, but they kind of have my interests here. Fungal Hound and Daughters of the Drowned. The Drowned Lurkers and the Brackwater Sirens. Witchguild has put out a small preview for the month of March with Diego the Destroyer. Worldforged Miniatures just put out their preview of Stormrain City 2. We see here this archway. I really like the globes, but I wonder how well or how easily they 3D print. We have a modular kit here for the square. It can come without the statue, or you can put the statue separately. Mystic Islands, they come in 2 different versions. We have various walls, they can be tall or short, as well as a set of shields, and these come in about 3 different varieties. And finally, a Celestial Banner and chest. Well, folks, there's my preview for the month of March. I wanted to get this done quickly so that you can see what's coming. By the time I put this up, there'll probably already be some other stuff out, and you'll be like, hey, why didn't you include this? And it's like, I can only include so much because by the time I do one of these, other things have been reported on and so forth. But I hope you enjoyed that. Get your wallets ready. March is coming.